Good morning, guys. What are we going to talk about today? I have a couple things I was going to talk about. So we ended up going to the grocery store last night. Usually I never go grocery shopping at night. It's always, a Saturday morning, a Sunday morning. Once in a while it might be like a Friday evening, but it's usually never at night. And it was actually really nice being in the store with nobody else there. I felt like we were able to, just not, be around a bunch of other people. So that was nice. But it was just different. I felt like I haven't looked on Without a Crystal Ball's channel recently. Is she covering? I shouldn't say covering. Is she exploiting the Depp versus Heard lawsuit? I mean, she exploits everything that she gets her little hands on. And that's the funny thing. Oh, by the way, Emily D. Baker's channel is blowing up right now. It's been kind of crazy to watch her growth so quickly. She literally, I think when the trial first started, she had around 360,000 subs. And when I was watching the video from yesterday, this morning, her sub count was at 417,000. So she's growing like crazy. She has, I know a couple of her videos over the last few days have 1 million views. So that's good for her. And the funny thing is this is the difference between someone who is qualified to give legal commentary versus someone like Without a Crystal Ball or Doubt Challenge podcast or, anyone else that has exploited legal cases in the past. Natasha Cooper, these are people who are doing videos just for the clicks and views. They're not qualified. They don't bring anything special. They're exploiters. They're greedy, money hungry, and thirsty for attention. I'm not saying every channel has to be qualified to discuss stuff, but subscribers can usually tell the difference between a channel that's exploiting something versus a channel that's covering it because they have knowledge in this field. And it's funny because speaking of this Depp versus Heard case, this whole Arnica gel has been a big topic of conversation. And Amber Heard's attorney was calling it Amica cream or something. Totally wrong name. But I want to tell you guys what Arnica is for. I know a lot of other people have said this as well. But Arnica gel, I'll tell you guys how I learned about Arnica. I learned about Arnica back when I worked for that dermatologist. And the manner in which we would use Arnica is if people were getting injectables. So if they were getting Botox or fillers, you can apply the Arnica to cut down on the bruising. Not everybody bruises when they get Botox, but if you get fillers, bruising is a lot more common. And specifically, I really want you guys to listen to this and leave a comment. Listen to what I'm about to say and then leave your comment of what you think. When people get fillers under the eyes, there is often bruising. So, just putting that out there, based on what I've seen, that's only based on my experience, but I have seen a fair amount of patients post injectables and what their bruising has looked like. When I worked for the dermatologist, I would not only see them come in office, sometimes they would sometimes what people would do is they would come in and get their fillers and Botox done, and then she also had an esthetician in the office. So sometimes what you would see is someone would come in for their Botox and injectables, and a few days later they would come in for dermaplaning and some kind of facial a couple days after. So many times you would be seeing those people a couple days post their injections. And people that get filler injected under their eyes, I don't want to say often, but it's definitely not uncommon to see bruising following that procedure. So that's kind of my experience with Arnica. I didn't know what an Arnica was before I worked for the dermatologist, but it is very common to be in any type of plastic surgeon's office, dermatologist, any establishment that is doing injectables or any type of procedure that might result in bruising. They typically have Arnica gel on deck. Like, it's just something that they have a lot of. And it's offered to patients. Sometimes it will just be applied to the patient right after their procedure in the office, but many patients want to take it home, so it's for sale as well, and they're able to buy a tube and take it home. Yeah, I found that very, very interesting. The conversation of the Arnica gel combined with some of the exhibits that were shown, I immediately thought of Arnica and what it looks like after someone gets fillers injected under their eye. And getting fillers under the eye, obviously lip fillers are very popular, but getting filler under the eye is also really popular because obviously no eye cream, I don't care if it's a $500 eye cream, no eye cream is going to replace loss of volume. You have to replace that loss of volume with something that is, a substance. You can't just slap an eye cream on there and think that hollowed out under eyes are going to be somehow replumped like it's magic. I don't care what kind of claim a eye cream makes. I don't care what kind of marketing they do with it. It's just physics, and it's impossible. But yeah, it is quite, I don't want to say funny, but it's just predictable. It's predictable at this point. Things that are happening in the world that are going to be exploited by social media. And for my personal preferences, I would much rather listen to someone who's qualified in certain situations. I'm not saying it's like that all the time, but with legal stuff, yeah. If I had a choice to listen to me give commentary on a lawsuit versus Emily D. Baker, there's no question. Like, I'm not qualified. There's no reason for me to have a bunch of videos about this lawsuit because I'm just someone who does not have any legal expertise or background to be able to really deliver a video that would be worthwhile watching. I've received several emails from Dad Challenge podcast subscribers over the last several weeks, and I've received permission from 2 people to read their emails, like, anonymously. Like, I'm not gonna say who it's from, But there's one more person who sent me a really good email, and I want to get permission from that individual. And if I get permission from that person, I'm going to make a video sharing their experiences with you guys, because I think that all three of these messages perfectly encapsulate what so many people think about him and the direction that his channel has gone. So hopefully I get permission from that other person, but if they don't reply, maybe I'll just share the two that I do have permission for. I cannot tell you guys, like, even when I started to cover Without a Crystal Ball, I didn't receive messages like I'm receiving now about Dad Challenge podcast. I'm receiving so many messages from people who were longtime supporters, and they, you know, have come to the conclusion that he is actually getting worse. And I think that there's a certain level of letdown and kind of frustration there. And that's why they reach out, because people know that I was a supporter of him for a while there. You know, we were cordial behind the scenes, and there's just no reason why, just because you support someone or you're cordial with them, you like their content at one point in time, there is no obligation to continue to support someone's channel if they're being what you consider toxic, or what you consider problematic or entitled or greedy or just, you know, bitchy. Like, there's no obligation. And that's the thing that some people that are really diehard supporters of him, that's the argument that they come to me with. And they constantly say, oh, well, he was nice to you. You guys talked, you know, in DMs. I talk to anyone who talks to me in DM. Whether it's Joe Smith or Sally Sue, if someone messages me, I will acknowledge their message. It doesn't matter if they have a channel or if they don't have a channel. There was no expectations from being cordial with Dad Challenge podcast, because if there was, then I would be cordial with YouTubers and ignore Sally Joe and Joe Smith when they message me, because I know that they don't have YouTube channels. I've always said, if you talk to me, I will talk back to you. That's just the way that I go. If you have a question, I will answer it as long as I'm comfortable answering it. That's just how I am. And there should not ever be an expectation because two YouTubers or two Instagrammers or two TikTokers are cordial with one another behind the scenes. There should be zero obligation for either one of them to not hold the other one accountable if they are doing things like doxing people, harassing people, being extremely cruel and vile. Why is there an expectation for silence? That is still something that none of his supporters can answer. Why are you expecting silence? Because we were cordial? That seems like a very skewed way of thinking, and I can't help you there. So either way, that's going to be it for today. I wanted to talk to you guys about those couple of things, just some thoughts. So for now, if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. See you guys soon. Bye.